Hello race drivers, it's Enzo. As you know, I'm just at a race weekend. The phone's falling off. At a race weekend, Nürburgring DTM, and I just thought I'd just hit record, why not? Because I'm hustling, if you want to call it that. I'm working on a few things, basically competing on an empty stomach and breathing techniques, things that coaches learn to help their drivers go better, really. And it just reminded me to hit play or hit record and just see who else is hustling, because it's what, 11:45 at night. And I thought there must be other race drivers. Well, I'm not a race driver, I'm a coach. There must be race drivers out there right now that are actually working on their craft. They've been to school, or they've done the holiday in the morning, or they've been to work, but they're still like, you know what? These few hours at night, this is when I can work on my racing. I can figure out what I'm going to offer a company. I can improve my driving, maybe on the simulator. I just want to know who is out there right now working on their craft, because it's these little time slots, right, that you get. And you probably only get 1 hour, 2 hours, maybe 5 hours if you're going to work through the night. But sometimes you just gotta. After this, after doing the breathing techniques, after finding out if competing on an empty stomach, like a lion would when they're hunting, actually helps a race driver, I'm then moving on to writing the new book. Yet another book, which is a bit of my own self-harm. I said I won't do another book for a few years, and I'm doing another one. This one's for parents, really, to help parents who have got the fortune of having drivers as their son or daughters, because it's not easy. Just to give them some coaching on how to coach, if you like. So yeah, that's the next one. It's not for everyone, obviously, but it's just something that I know would bring value to the community. So just while I'm here, if you're hustling, I'm going to be hustling as well. What questions you got? Have you got any? And you can just be there while I'm working and while you're working. And if, well, basically the last few times has been on business, on mental, but a lot of people now are really worrying about careers and sponsorship, because it is a time now where we can get back to it. We can start to get out there and talk to companies, but I still see not enough people doing it. And that hurts. It's like, come on, you've got enough education. You know what to do. You know what championship you want to drive in. You know how to put a proposal together, but still we're not knocking on doors. Still we're not calling people up. We're not putting the packages together to offer them something for us to go racing. So I just wanted to say, guys, if you want to race, it's not rocket science. It's just putting a little package together and going out there and selling it to death, even if it's someone else's package. There's no excuse now, because there's only so much information you can take. So stop watching these videos and get out there and do it. And if anyone out there who is really struggling, I'm trying to get my chat to work right now, but I can't. Someone just say hello so I can see if anybody is watching, because I don't think they're coming up. Don't think the questions are coming up. But really, what I wanted to say, just quickly, here we go. One question: how do I stop being so lenient to other drivers? I get very quick lap times, but I let others overtake me way too easy, as I fear I'll take myself out. You know what? Fear with a race driver. People think race drivers don't fear, but they're the most fearful, insecure people I've ever met. And people say this, you know, I've even worked with boxers. I've worked with flight, you know, people who do acrobatic flying in the plane. And we all still have the same problems. We still have the same issues. I got bullied at school. Something happened to me. I haven't got confidence. But when you watch them, once they put the lid on, they look like these heroes. Inside, that they're a mushy mess. So you're not on your own, by the way. I think it was Jack. He's gone already. The comments have. But it's what you focus on when you're in the car is what you get. That's it, plain and simple. If you're in the car, right, you've just overtaken someone, and straight away you're letting like 60% of your focus is still back on there and what it means for them to be behind. Guess what you're going to think about? You're going to think about them. They're going to be owning your mind, even though you're in front. Before you know it, you're making mistakes. Have it as a new thing, right? As soon as you start free practice, It's your goal to go out onto that track and to absolutely attack. 100% forward, nothing behind. Put the bloody mirrors down, or don't even look over your shoulder if you're karting. It's forward, forward, forward for about 3 laps. See how many people you can overtake. And as soon as you overtake one, you say, right, next. Now, you know, if you've heard my stuff before, that next is the one word that can change the game. You say that as often as possible. Next, 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 next. You keep the brain looking forward. This is going to take conscious effort, okay? It doesn't have to be aggressive. You can be overtaking somebody. You take a nice deep breath. Smile on your face, say next, and that next could be just the next apex. It could just be the next breaking point, but you keep that mind down the road. Do not let the 60% behind think about the person behind. You execute, go, but you have to practice that in free practice. Even in qualifying, you make a slight error, straight away you're focusing forward. It's all about where the focus goes, the energy flows. Remember that. It's an old saying, but it's so true. Do not let people behind you dominate your mindset. You're done with them. You're going faster than them. You've outmaneuvered them. You move on, okay? Right, anyone else? I'm just scrolling on the screen. Hello to Troy, Jonathan, Rockass. Keep your questions coming. Recently got 3 partners on board. Daniel, you absolute warrior. And currently sending out proposals for the upcoming season. Thanks, buddy. See, everybody, Daniel has got 3 people on board. He's chasing it. What's stopping anyone else doing that? It is possible. You go into this motorsport world, right? Let's just see this for how it is. You've got companies that are owned by people. A lot of the times now, CEOs are quite young, right? You've got to admit they're in their 30s, 40s, a lot of them now, especially with the tech companies, sometimes younger. So they're quite cool. I'm not saying people my age or older are not cool, but they're quite cool and they like motorsport. Now, if you can show them how they can get customers through motorsport, you've got something to sell. If you can show them how they can invest in your career, like owning a racehorse, you say, right, you put in this much, you put in 10 grand, hopefully more than that. You put in this much over 5 years with my prize monies and the sponsorship I get, and income from the team. You can get a return in 5 years' time. It's like owning a racehorse. If you want to sell that, which you can in America because it's got prize funds, got more prize money than in England and Europe. So if you're in America, that 5% return kind of thing can work and has worked for drivers. So you can sell yourself that way. There's enough to sell. There's enough packages to sell. You just have to put these packages together. And when I say packages and products, you know what I mean. It's this much space on the car, this hospitality, this B2B, and it's going to cost you this much. Simple as that. And then you get out there and sell it to everybody. You tailor it to them, to the company you're approaching. So when you approach a few companies at a time, so you're kind of like, okay, what would that company want? I tell you what would really work now. Anything that's COVID related. Hand sanitizers, mask manufacturers, anything that's to do with hygiene, soap manufacturers, they would love to be in public areas now, right? So if it's on the side of a race car where there's tens of thousands of people, I'm sure that's the kind of company that's got a lot of money right now that would like to push their product forward. So think about what's happening in the world. What's happening in the world, what companies are out there, and what companies wouldn't be put off by motorsport, because a lot of companies are. You go to insurance companies sometimes and they say no to motorsport because they don't want that kind of crash environment. So fair enough. But yeah, anything COVID related, guys. So well done, Daniel. Troy says congrats. How do you go about approaching a scholarship shootout? Right. There's a few scholarship shootouts. There's quite a few in America. Not so many in England apart from the Ginetta Junior. But if you're going for it, find out what cars they're going to do it in. So it could be Ginettas, could be Fiestas, could be something, right? And see if you can do a track day in a car that's similar. Find out what circuit the shootout's taking place on, if you can. Do a track day there. Get a coach with you. Just get the driving skills down if you can. Is Ginetta scholarship? Right. Blyton, is it? Or somewhere like that it goes. The kids that you're up against, they will be testing. They'll be testing in a Ginetta most likely on the airfield. So do the same, even if it's just one. And go there go to a shootout, not expecting to win, but expecting to have a great time. So you show up and you're thinking, right, I'm just going to have a blast. I'm going to let myself go. I'm going to be Blighton and Linkshear. That's it. Media, fitness. The fitness is, yeah, okay, you can easily do that. Just train at home on everything, mostly cardio, because it's not going to be that hard to get to be fit enough to drive one of them cars. Media is basically talking like this. So practice with anyone. Just say to your mum, your dad, whoever looks after you, say, right, just ask me 10 motorsport questions about what I want to do, how much racing means to me, how did you get into racing, what else are you into, and just keep asking them, right, sporadically, mum, dad, uncle, just ask me 3 questions off the cuff now and then as I'm walking past, and then you have to quickly switch into media mode. Put yourself on camera like this, like I am now. It doesn't take confidence, you just talk. You don't have to broadcast it, just record yourself and see if you're confident enough. And Adam Smiley told me to enjoy myself. Yeah, honestly, mate, just go there as a day out. And if you win, you win. If you don't, you don't. Because these scholarships, one, you don't know what they're looking for. Because some scholarships say, right, we want to have someone in there, but the kind of person that can actually afford to go on. There's no point us giving it to someone. Sounds wrong, right? No point us giving it to someone who has got no cash, and they can't carry on. So we give them a scholarship and they don't really go any further. We need our scholarship drivers to advance and then to be able to pay on. So some scholarships are like that. I'm not saying Janetta is. So you can go there saying I haven't got enough money to race, which is fine, but don't look skint. Just go there. Yeah, they might be after that. Some scholarships are after a certain type of person. So you can't, or some scholarships are fixed. So you go there, they already know who's going to win. They're just getting everybody else to pay or just be a part of it. So you can't take them too seriously. You just got to get there, drive your backside off, do your best, enjoy it, and just give it your absolute all. Because the one thing that I do notice when I've judged these scholarships and things like this is anyone who's overly nervous and then has a bit of a performance blocker, trips up because they're so nervous, they've got no chance. But somebody who's just there enjoying themselves, getting on with everybody, relaxed, smiling, and they can drive, you're at least in the top 10%. So do that. It's like just going there for a track day and a holiday and a blast. Treat it that way. I know it's easier than it sounds, but if you can do that, you'll stand a much better chance. And you'll perform better as well. So thanks for that. Ever been to Knock Hill? Last week, I went to Knock Hill. I'd say it's one of my favourite circuits. I did British GT there, and in a bloody Clio V6 rear engine thing. It was great. It's got jumps. It's my kind of circuit, really. There's not many circuits like that, but yeah, I went to Knock Hill last week. I haven't raced there since like 2002-ish or something like that, but I loved it. Right, something I wanted to tell you, which I wasn't going to now, is you probably saw I did a video on my Hi Panos, long time no here, on my gaming PC that I use for iRacing. Now, I've had to get a second one because I've got to run Assetto Corsa and all the other ones on it, R-Factor, and edit on it. So the one I had was great for just iRacing and another few things. A really good gaming PC. Go back to, I think it was season 4, maybe 3, where I reviewed it. I'm going to give it away completely free to someone who's on the Race Driver newsletter or on YouTube. So I'm going to wipe it, obviously. And then next week, I think it is, when I'm back home, I'm just going to offer it to one of you beautiful people. All you got to do is send me an email and pay for the shipping, of course. You can pay for the shipping, but it's a free. I think it cost me $800 because I got a deal, but it's worth about $1,000. So I thought I'd just give it to one of you beautiful people because, hey, you've subscribed. It's about time that YouTubers gave back to their subscribers. So anyone who wants that PC, I'll give you the details next week. I'll do it in the Race Driver Coach Show on Monday when I get back. But yeah, I'm at Nürburgring right now. Now this is a track where we're going to get wet. I'm with Liam Lawson in DTM, and something struck me today was, drivers, I want you to just pay a bit more attention to engineering. Liam, who I've obviously been with since F4, F3, F2, it's great because he's good on the engineering side, luckily. So he can go into a GT team, tell them what he thinks about the differential, tell them what he thinks about the roll bars and stuff. But what I notice is when you got a lot of junior drivers now in GTs, what a lot of them struggle with when they're coming from single seaters is they don't know enough about engineering. So when you jump into a GT car like GT3 or even 4, you go into a race team which is run by proper adults, they're in their 40s, 50s, they've been doing GTs forever, they've worked with really top people like ex-F1 drivers and GT drivers that have been pros. And if you turn up and all you can say is understeer, oversteer on the exit, traction's not very good, that's not very valuable to them. Again, you only get 2 free practices and you've got to sort out that car. Hi, Matthias. Yeah, sorry, mate. It just flashed up quick. So you've got to know how to set up the car and what to tell them whilst you're trying to drive and learn the circuit at the same time. So when you're playing iRacing, you're on iRacing, or when you're racing for real, I want you to start to up your education and your knowledge on engineering. You ask the engineer, if you're at a real race weekend, can you test me on some engineering stuff? Can you ask me to have more feedback? Can you ask me to give you more feedback as I come in? And one little trick, right? So you're racing your heart out, or you're lapping your heart out in free practice or quali. On the in lap, so you took the checkered flag, on your in lap, stay on the limit and take in what the car's doing. So you're going through turn 1 and you're feeling what it's done, just in case you can't remember whilst you were driving. And then you store all that information and you tell the team as soon as you get in, and you ramble away. Yeah, it feels like it's got understeer on turning. It's not rotating well enough. The traction's terrible. Just get as much information as you can because it will serve you. I want you to become an engineer. If you look at Ferrari versus Ford, where it's called the film, you saw that drivers back then, they raced, they worked on the car. They were like Dan Gurneys, right? They were engineers that happened to be fast. And I tell you what, if you can do that now, you'll be so valuable. You'll even be valuable in the F2, F3, F4 world, where the engineer just pretty much asks you one question and then sets the car up for you and doesn't actually share what he's doing with the car, because obviously there's team secrets. And if they share everything, you could tell other teams. But if you can really spend time on the engineering side, it's amazing what that does for your career when you move into the bigger stuff like GT, should I say. It's not necessarily bigger. Right, a few more questions. Do you have any tips for learning a new circuit? Yeah, I think you might have heard this. Let's say you're going to Silverstone, which has got, I don't know why I said Silverstone, but it's got like 16 corners. It depends how many you count. And that's a lot, especially when you've only got 2 sessions again. In F3, you've only got 1 session to learn it before quali. By the way, that's what impresses me with good drivers. You go in somewhere like Sochi, somewhere you've never been before, and there's not many simulators on them, and you go into free practice and you're expected to purple sector it. You're expected to still be quick. This is how hard it is to be a driver nowadays, because you've got no testing in F3, but you rock up at the circuit and you're still expected to be at the front. And it's amazing how after like 4 laps, the drivers are already hitting times that are competitive and they've never been there before. If you don't have that skill, then it's hard to be a pro. You've literally got to go to a circuit you've never seen before, apart from on iRacing or at the simulator at the race team, jump in, go. There's no, oh, it took 45 minutes to learn the track, I'm still guessing if it's a left or a right that's coming up. That's just lack of preparation. I did that. I remember doing that as a kid because we didn't have simulators. We just could talk to people and track walk and things. I was terrible at learning circuits quickly, but now they're so fast. Liam today went round Nordschleife, you know how many corners that is, 167 corners or whatever, in his car, in just a normal car, flat out straight away because of iRacing, so he knew every single corner. And also another driver did it next to him, and Alex Albon was racing us as well. I was racing him as well. Not good, but they were getting a bit feisty today on a Nordschleife, just for fits and giggles really. But still, it's amazing how they just knew the track straight away. And you do that, so answer your question, by obviously if you can't do the sim, you pick the 3 or 4, 5, 6 corners that are the main ones for lap time. So you say to yourself, right, if I was to sit down with the engineer and say, right, what are the most important corners for lap time? The ones that I can lose like half a second on if I'm not careful, 3 or 4 tenths. You'll have a list of them, a hierarchy. So you say, right, turn 10, you've definitely got to get that one right. Let's start a bit earlier. Turn 3, 6, and 10, they're the ones. So you go, okay, are they similar? Or are they completely different? Are they hairpin type ones? Are they second gear? Are they third, fourth, high speed? And you sort of put them in categories. So you go, right, if I'm to approach this as a high speed driver, I know that I can do turn 7 and 12 and 15, no problem. I just need that mindset. Don't worry, that's fine. I know I'm struggling a little bit with the tight corners, the slow ones. Right, which ones are they? Turn 3, 4, 9. Right, how am I going to do them? And when you go out, all the corners in the middle, don't worry about them. The ones that are not so important, you can lose a tenth there, maybe half a tenth there. Forget them. Just focus on the main ones that you can lose time at. And then chunk them down to say, right, the kind of style for turn 6 is the same for 12. That's all right. I know what they are. And I know it sounds confusing, but basically you go there and you say, right, these are the most important corners. They're the ones I'm going to tackle first. And at least you can get within a second quite quickly then. So prep is big. Prep is huge. Simulator the hell out of it. So you're pretty much doing it with your eyes closed. Then do it with your eyes closed. Visualize the lap. And then make it really simple so you can see which corners you're going to attack first. And then after session 1, you can start to do the fine details. So prep and then big chunk it. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. I made it sound so difficult, but it's not. Fab Gamer, how you doing, mate? Right, so yeah, next week I'm giving away my gaming PC, so make sure you're tuning in. I might do it as a sporadic video like this, but if I do, it's fine, you'll still see it. I got to wipe it first. So yes, I'll do the show as normal on Monday. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to get back to work now. This really a press record just to say, I hope you're working. I don't know what time it is where you are. It could be Saturday morning, first thing, if you're over in New Zealand, or it could be Friday morning, afternoon, if you're the other side. Either way, make sure you're working on the racing. The only way you're going to succeed in motorsport is when you work hard. And if you're working in the day, you work at the night. Again, it's 7 minutes past 11 here. I'm going to be going till 2, and then I'm at the track. That's not me showing off. That's just me showing you what you got to do if you want to succeed. One more question, you naughty people. I was going to say goodbye. Do you have any tips at karting? Do I have any tips at karting? What do you mean? Give me some more context. Yeah, drive fast. Naughty people, hee. Right, guys. Wait, what? Who's that? Tactic Rolls. Hello, son. Right. Is there anything else I want to say before I go? Just bloody work hard. That's it. No more about it. See you soon, folks. See you Monday.